G'day Australia, how's it going? Coram from Audiocom Mobile Electronics here. What I've got behind me is a Hyundai i30. This is the unit with the navigation module upgrade, and what we're going to fit in it today is a new Apple CarPlay Android Auto unit. We're using the Clarion FX 450. Clients come into us and they've wanted the factory navigation's a bit dated of course, and they're looking for the new Apple CarPlay Android Auto upgrade. We're going to fit it with the AirPro fitment adapter. This is specific for the GD and GD2 that has the slightly different shaped audio unit that is the navigation one. The standard non-navigation units are a little bit of a different shape, so it's a unique fitment adapter just for that style of dash. Now, the reason I'm putting this video together for you today is we don't actually put this together as a DIY pack online because it's a bit of a handful, and I'm going to show you why. This video is actually for our training academy, the Audiocom Technical Training Academy, which is we've got a facility in Western Australia where we train all the technicians that work in the Audiocom stores to become qualified to do these sorts of installations in our stores. Now, this is a little bit of a data resource because this model fought us every step of the way. There's a couple of unique anomalies. The plug and play adapters for some of the important dash components aren't entirely plug and play. So we've got a factory camera that we want to retain. And there's a retention adapter listed on the AirPro website, which we ordered for the vehicle, but the pinouts and the plug are different. So I'm going to show you how to get around that. Now, the steering wheel control interface, we've actually hardwired this here today, which is quite easy to do. Saves you buying the $129 steering wheel control interface adapter. So going to save you a little bit of money there if you're following along at home, or guys, if in the shops, you don't need to use the adapter. We'll do the hardwire connection instead. Now, something else you have to do too is reconfigure the speaker outputs, because the standard plug that comes from AirPro or DNA does not have the right pin configuration for the speaker outputs. So everything's a little bit different on this navigation model. We also need to connect the power antenna to amplify the factory antenna so the radio reception works correctly, and manually connect the reverse trigger so that it switches to reverse when reverse is selected using the factory camera. So this is OE retention of everything. So there's a little bit going on here. The only thing that was plug and play was the USB retention adapter on the AirPro website. Clips straight in, works beautifully. So there's one plug and play component of all of these. So I'm going to show you a little bit of this data now, and some of this is also recorded on the tech data website at universalfuse.com. You can go there and click on the tech data, and there's an image with a wiring diagram for the steering wheel control interface. So I'm going to show you that now. On this harness here, this is the main power harness, and we've hardwired two steering wheel control wires that come through to this Clarion FX 450. The steering wheel control wires on the FX 450 are well labeled, as you can see there. Steering wheel ground and steering remote input 1. And then let's figure out which is which. The ground wire comes through and connects to this one. You can see that there. I'll get that camera in a little bit closer. It's a very light pale brown wire. You see the pin position there. That is the steering wheel ground input, and then directly below that, the green wire is the steering wheel input 1. So a hardwire connection to both of those, and then connect it back to the Clarion unit, and then you can manually program the steering wheel controls. Now, the amplified antenna is in that same harness, and it's the red wire here, and we need to connect that to the amplified antenna output of the Clarion unit to activate the amplified antenna on the roof to make sure that the radio reception is correct. Now we've got the reverse wire trigger as well, which is this green wire in the next harness. And that insulation could be a little bit better. Tighten that up a bit. So this green wire in the other harness here is the reverse trigger, which will tell the head unit to switch to the reverse camera input. And then now the reverse camera input itself, like I said, we used the plug and play adapter from AirPro, but it wasn't plug and play. All the pin locations were different on the actual connector for the factory camera. So we've manually connected the 3 wires that we need, which is 6-volt power input to the OE camera. Now the OE cameras, remember, are not 12 volts, they are 6 volts, so don't ever shove 12 volts in there, you'll blow it up. So this pin here that I'm indicating to you now, the 6-volt red output from the adapter goes to this top red pin here, which is the 6-volt power trigger for, sorry, the 6-volt power feed for the OE camera, the top red pin there, and that one's running straight through, as you can see. Then the video positive is the bottom red pin, so that's video positive in that position, and then ground and video negative are both together on the 2 other wires. They're both actually, if you measure them with the multimeter, they have continuity between them, so they are a common ground for both the ground for the camera for power and the video ground. And you connect your 2 ground wires from the adapter to one of each of those 2, and that will give you full continuity for all the connectors that you need for the original camera fitted to the car. And the last thing that I'll point out is just a little bit of configuration change that we did here for the speaker connectors. So the plug for the speaker connectors does fit. It clips into the factory harness and everything docks in correctly, but the pin configuration, all the positions of the speaker positive and negative, are completely wrong. So you need to cut all of those and manually reconfigure them correctly so that the right speaker outputs go to the right speakers. And I'm not just talking about balance fader, but the positive and negative of the speakers are all messed around as well, and they're not just out of phase, they just simply will not work. When you plug it in, you'll get no audio, and you have to completely reconfigure the speaker wires. So cut all of those independently, and then with your multimeter, test for speaker pairs. When you find the speaker pairs, then you can pop test with a 9-volt battery each of those speaker pairs to identify which speaker is which in the car. You can do a visual pop test to see the indication of whether the speaker is moving forward or backward with that DC connection on the battery, and that will tell you which speaker is which and what their phase is. Then you can solder all of those and insulate those up correctly so that you're ready to go. Now that we've finally configured all of this and we've had a successful power up test on all functions, steering wheel controls are working, OE camera's working, everything's triggering fine, the radio reception's fantastic. Now we can reassemble the vehicle together with that new AirPro fitment kit that I indicated before. So you can see this is quite a handful, which is why we don't do this as a DIY kit on the website, because there's a lot going on. If you're keen to tackle all this, we do have all of this gear available at the Audiocom stores. So duck into any Audiocom store, you can pick up all these parts and then tackle this yourself, or book with us, come and bring your car to us, we will do all the hard work for you. At any of the Audiocom locations, we have permanent installation fitment bay at every Audiocom store, so we can get this installed and integrated to the vehicle for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something. I hope this has helped. If you're a technician and you are stuck on some of these components or configurations, I hope this has given you a little bit of insight. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I want to see you here again soon.